All right. Order of operations. So we did a bunch of order of operations stuff right at the beginning, right? So this is why, is because now we're going to keep doing order of operations. We're doing bed mass stuff.
Bed mass.
But now, well, what was bed mass again? It was...
Brackets.
And up until, yeah, brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition and subtraction. And we have to do it in that order. Up until now, you guys have always just kind of ignored the exponents part of this, right?
Yeah.
But now you guys know how to do exponents, so we're just going to do those as well.
Oh no.
Okay, so consider the following equation written out like this, right? Well, using the correct order of operations, we can do bed mass here. So here, I'm going to write it out again just to do it on my own. So we got 2 times negative 3 to the power of 3 minus 6 plus 2. Okay, according to bed mass, what should we do first?
Bracket.
Yeah, so we're going to do, well, there's nothing really to do inside the brackets, but exponents comes next anyway. So let's go negative 3 to the power of 3. And so without blurting it out, one of you guys raise your hands? What would negative 3 to the power of 3 be? Yeah.
Negative 27.
Negative 27. Let's remind ourselves how you just did that in your head. Negative 3 to the power of 3, what that was negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. So negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9 times negative 3 times negative 3 is equal to negative 27.
Yes.
Right? So you guys will start getting a little bit better at doing that in your head, hopefully, or like writing it out like this, right? That's perfectly fine. Because you would have to be able to do this type of question without a calculator too, right? That's the level that we have to be at.
Can you break the question out in that calculator?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's keep going now. So we figured out that was negative 27, right? So let's just write it again with that number. And remember, in math, we work our way down. We don't work our way from left to right like the way you guys like write in English. We work our way down. Okay. Okay, so then we're just going to write everything again, but change. So it'll be 2 times, and then instead of a negative 3 to the power of 3, I'm going to write that as negative 27.
Yeah.
You probably want to keep that in brackets, like the way I wrote it there, to just remind yourself that that's negative. Because if you would have had it written without the brackets, sometimes you can confuse yourself and you think that that's like minus 27 or something. The brackets kind of help you remember that means times negative 27. Okay, and then we've got minus 6 plus 2. Okay, next step. What do I got to do next? I need to multiplication. So I got to multiply these two guys. 2 times negative 27. What would that be? Without the calculator.
Negative 54.
Yeah, you guys probably saw it on the page. What if you didn't know how to do it and you're like, I just can't think of this one?
Just do the long multiplication.
Yeah, 27 times 2. And do you guys remember how we did that? It was just 2 times 7, right? We do this one first and then we do that one.
You don't have to add them together.
So we go 2 times 7 is...
No, because that'd be addition.
2 times 7 is 4.
Or you mean 27 plus 27? Yeah, be the same thing, yeah. Do that too. But we can go, okay, 7 times 2 is 14.
Yes.
So I'm going to write, so 4 and a 1 goes up to the top. And then 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 54. Right? So, but it was a positive times a negative, so this is going to be negative 54. And then write what's left. So now minus 6 plus 2. All right. Let's just do, it doesn't actually matter which order we do this in now. Let's go negative 54 minus 6. And how would you even think about this? Negative 54 minus 6.
You're
So
adding 6.
we're not adding 6.
But like the number would be going down.
Yeah, well,
But it would be going up in a sense.
imagine we're on the number line.
This is what you're explaining.
So imagine we're on the number line and you're at negative 54. And then I told you that you're going to go 6, or like that you're going to subtract 6.
So that's what we're...
So that means, so subtracting on your number line means to the left,
Oh. But...
right? Like on the number line there.
Hold on. If you subtract a positive, wouldn't that make it...
There is no
Go
positive.
left. Go to left.
Subtracting a positive is just subtracting. Like that's like normal subtracting is subtracting a positive.
Oh.
Yeah. I think you're thinking of like subtracting a negative. If it would have been like minus negative 6, that's probably the one that you were thinking of.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so we're at 54 and we're going 6 to the left. Where would you be there?
60.
Negative.
Yeah, negative 60, right? Do you see how that ended up being the same thing as like 54 plus 6?
Yeah.
You know, but like in the negative direction. So yeah, so 60. So that's just going to be negative 60 plus 2. So now I'm thinking, okay, I'm at negative 60, and I'm going 2 to the right, right? I'm adding 2. So where am I at now?
58. Negative 50.
Negative 58. Oh, this is wrong on the key, isn't it?
What? 62.
I think I remember that.
I typed this into my calculator, and I typed the.
Okay, so if you guys are following this is wrong on the sheet.
But the calculator does bed math, so
The
you-
calculator.
The calculator does not do bed math.
well, it somehow comes up with the right answer.
Sometimes you get lucky, just the way it's written. We got lucky on that one if you typed it all in, because multiplying actually just literally came first. Right, so you would have done that part first, and then you would have done the other part. But if this would have been written like, you know, the subtraction, like 3 minus 4 times 7, and you just typed in 3 minus 4 times 7, your calculator's not doing that for you. Your calculator will get that wrong.
Oh, that's wrong.
Negative 25.
All right, let's move on. Okay, just lots of examples here, guys. Oh, well, that was the same one. Whoop. Okay, so let's do this first one. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna pause here. I'm gonna let you guys do it. All right, so let's do the first one here. So we've got 3. Here, I'm gonna write it out. 3 plus 2 to the power of 3. And you guys should do the same thing. Like I didn't give you guys enough room to like work down here, right? So write it out and then work your way down. So okay, according to bedmass. Here, I'm gonna write down bedmass too, so we have it. Bedmass. What do we do first?
The bracket.
The brackets, right?
75.
And remember what I mean by doing the brackets first. It means doing inside the brackets first. Whatever's happening on the inside, we gotta do that first. Okay, so we do inside the brackets first. So here we're just gonna go 3 plus 2.
5.
So 5. And then you could leave it in the brackets if you want. 5 to the power of 3. Or that's really just 5 to the power of 3, right? We can get rid of the brackets now. Now, 5 to the power of 3, so that's easy. 15, right? 5
5
to...
times 5 times 5.
Oh yeah, right. It's not just gonna be 15 here, because 5 to the power of 3 doesn't mean 5 times 3. It really means 5 times 5 times 5. So 5 times 5 is 25. Times 5 is 125. And if you're having trouble with going like with multiplying, it's funny how when you relate it to money,
Money?
if you had 25 cents
Yes.
and you had so a quarter, and you had 5 quarters, how much money would you have?
145.
You'd have $1.25, right? You'd have 125.
That makes so much sense.
So you'd have 125 for that one. Sorry, I should have wrote that down the way we were doing it before. So 125.
I'm writing this on.
Wait, since you like it.
Okay, next one, guys. How's the beer again?
Wait, since you know cashiers.
Okay, so we've got 18 squared plus 5 to the power of 0. And then this symbol, it means divide, right? That's another way of writing divide.
Yeah.
So we could write it like, well, I'll write it the same way, but we could also write it as over like this, over negative 5 to the power of 3. That's a better way to write division, and that's actually more when you guys get into like, you know, 10C and more academic math. We don't see this symbol very often anymore, like with the division symbol like that. It's not very useful. It's better to write it as a ratio or as a fraction like that. Okay, so let's do this one. So 18, so bedmass. So what am I doing first here?
Bracket.
So I gotta do inside the bracket. So what that's done, that's narrowed my focus into here, right? I gotta do inside here first. Okay, so if I'm doing that, 18 squared.
324.
All right, shoot. So how'd you guys do that? Did you just punch in your calculator to get 18 squared? We gotta do this with our calculator.
No, I don't have a calculator.
All right, good. Okay, let's figure out what 18 squared is. What does it mean to say 18 squared? Well, it means 18 times 18. Okay.
18 plus 18.
So, I know you guys, some of you guys were saying the way that we do this, we're gonna go 8 times 8, right? We do this one first. And then we go 8 times 1.
1.
Eight.
8.
And just wait. And then from there, so once we're done those two, then we're going to go 1 times 8 and then 1 times 1. So you guys see really what we're doing is I'm picking this one, I'm multiplying it by both of those, and then I'm picking this one and multiplying it by both of those.
You have to remember to add just 0 when you're going to the circle.
Yeah, you're a step ahead of me there. Okay, so let's do this. So 8 times 8.
64.
64, right? So what I do here is I put down a 4. And I'm going to bring the 6 up to the top. Okay, and then we're going to go 8 times 1, right? I'm on this one now. 8 times 1 is 8. And then we add the 6, right? So 8 plus 6 is 14. So 14. So there we go. That's the step. That's part 1. Now we're going to move on to part 2. So we're going to go this one times 8 and then this one times 1. So 1 times 8 is 8. So would you put that here?
No.
No. And this is where you might make a mistake. Really what we're doing here, when we're multiplying this by 8, this is actually like 10 times 8, right? This is like the 10 spot. So it's like 10 times 8. So really we have to add like a 0 there. And then now it's going to be from here. It'll be 1 times 8 is 8. And then 1 times 1 is 1. I'm not paying attention to that 6 anymore. That was just for the first part, right? So now what do I do with those numbers? We add them up. So we add those numbers. So 4 plus 0 is 4. 4 plus 8 is 12. So I'm going to put the 2 there and bring the 1 up. And then 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. So 324. Okay?
Wait, what's the bottom bigger more of the...
That's for
Because it was being multiplied by the 10s.
No, like, what's the
That's
bottom...
subtraction.
Oh.
Okay.
I'll show you that later.
So 324 plus, all right, 5 to the 0. What's that?
1.
1.
322.
And then I'm going to write that over. And then let's figure out what this one is. Negative 5 to the power of 3. What's that going to be?
It's in brackets.
Yeah, negative 5 to the power of 3 in brackets.
Why is it from
Still negative 125.
Yeah, so negative
Oh.
125. And the question was, why is it still negative?
because it's in brackets.
Well, actually, in this one would have come out negative either way, because if you think about it this way, we've got negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 5. Negative times a negative would be a positive. Positive times a negative, that thing's coming out negative.
And it was
Remember how any odd exponent is going to come out negative? If it's negative to begin with? Yeah, okay. All right. So moving on a little bit. So now we've got 324 plus 1 is going to be 325 divided by negative 125. Ooh, what are we going to do here?
divide.
Okay.
And that comes up to a negative.
Yeah, it's going to be negative. So how are we going to do this?
I don't know.
Well, do you remember if we had a fraction like 4 over 6, then how would you simplify that?
You divide it.
Well, you'd find something that goes into both, right? You'd be like, okay, well, 2, I can divide the top by 2, and if I divide the bottom by 2, 4 divided by 2 would be 2.
Oh, you can divide the top by 5 and the bottom by 5.
You can, but I can actually even see, what about 25? I can divide the top and the bottom by 25. So 325 divided by 25. If another way of saying this is if you had $3.25, how many quarters would you have?
17? What? No, it's 13.
It's 13.
Yeah, you have 13, right?
Hey,
Okay, so 13 over, and then if I had $1.25, how many quarters would I have? Yeah, 5. So it'd be negative 13 over 5.
Smart.
and then would that be the answer?
Or would you have to do 13?
No, and then that's your answer. That's great.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh,
you just leave it like that. Yeah, that's our fraction. That's our answer.
I wasn't even close.
But why wouldn't you divide?
Good question. The question was, why wouldn't you divide it? If I divide it, well, what do you get if you divide it? You get like 2 point. Yeah, you get negative 2 point something.
Oh, so it's in its simplest form.
I got
Yeah.
2.6.
It's actually the most accurate in math. We quite often like to leave them as fractions because it's it's better to work with. It's more accurate. Because if I get like a decimal and I have to round that decimal, then I've actually just made it less accurate. So it's actually better. We quite often just leave them as fractions, especially in math. All right, moving on. Let's do the next one here. So we've got 690. You know what? We're going to use a calculator for this one.
Oh,
No,
that's
you
cheating.
can't. No, that's
That's
cheating.
cheating.
690
Cheating.
divided by
What a cheater.
2 times 4 squared plus 12, negative 12 to the power of 0. Okay. According to BedMass, what do we got to do first? Brackets, right? So really what that did is that focused my attention in here, right? We got to do inside there first. And then, well, it looks like exponents, so we can do those exponents first. Let's write the whole thing again. So we'll go 690 divided by, and then I'll leave my brackets. And then we'll have 2 times, and then 4 squared, 4 to the power of 2. So 8?
Nope. 16.
16, good. Yeah, not 8. So it's going to be 16. And then plus, what's this going to be?
1.
So really what we got going on here, we've got negative 12 to the power of 0.
Positive one.
All right. So who thinks it's positive 1? Who thinks it's negative 1? All right, the negative ones have it. Okay, here's why. So I'm just focusing on this right now, right? These brackets right now are completely meaningless. Notice that both the brackets are on the outside of where the exponent was, right? They were just put on the outside of the whole thing. My question was really just this. Are you okay with saying that that would be a negative 1? Right? Like it's this 12 to the power of 0 is 1, and then the negative's just tacked on the front.
Oh,
Yeah? These brackets on the outside were just there for show, really. It would have been different if the brackets were like this. If it would have been a bracket here and then a bracket on that side of the 12.
yeah.
Then that would have been negative 12, all of negative 12 to the power of 0. So this slight shift of where that bracket was made the number come out different. It's a dirty little trick, eh? So you got to be careful about those.
So then if it was on the other side, it would have been 1 still.
Yeah.
But it would have been positive 1?
Yeah, that would have been positive 1.
Oh,
That's negative 1.
okay.
Yeah, because this is all just on the inside, right? So the inside here would be negative, and then 12 to the power of 0 is 1. Okay, so this is plus negative 1. So plus negative 1, if you like. Well, that looks kind of awkward, though. Plus negative 1. Can I write that different? What is plus negative 1? Like what's a better way to write that to make more sense?
You put the brackets around the negative.
Oh, I could do that too. But even that's still more awkward than it needs to be. What does plus negative actually mean?
It means a negative.
It just means minus. Yeah, plus and negative is just minus. Let's just write that as minus. So 16 minus 1. I got a button on my...
Oh, it's such a button.
All right, 690 over... Okay, according to BedMass, what do I do first?
Bracket.
Yeah, so we're going to do 2 times 16. So,
No, no.
Yes.
Yes.
There's a 0.
okay, so that's going to be, what, 32 minus 1. So then 690 divided by 31.
Oh no.
And that might be as low as we can go. I bet you that is. So you'd actually just leave your answer like that. What'd you get when you divided it?
I did the other one.
What'd you get? 20.
22.26.
Okay, yeah.
I actually used my
Yeah,
calculator.
22.26. So yeah, you could write it out as a number like that too. But, you know, as a fraction, you could just leave it like that.
Isn't it wrong?
Nope. No, that's right. Those are both the same number.
So why? This is 4, right?
It's 3. This is number 3.
That was number 3.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Now, number 4 will be kind of quick. What's the answer to number 4?
1.
1. I didn't even care about any of the inside, right? That whole thing was to the power of 0. Just 1, right? So don't... I'm going to warn you guys now. I got a few like tricky little questions there where you're going to look at it and be like, oh my God, I got so much stuff to do, right? And you'll spend like 20 minutes doing this question. And then you'll see at the end of it, you're like to the power of 0 and it was all 1. So...